Welcome to Silicon Scoop, where we dive into the latest tech news impacting the world. Join John Irwin and the Startup Coach as they explore the tech news that matters to you. Stay ahead, stay informed, and now on with the show.
Claude Fable 5 is officially back online, but Uncle Sam's fingerprints are all over it. If you think you're getting the same raw, hyper-capable model that dropped early June, think again. Anthropic just slapped a massive digital governor on its engine to appease Washington. So Fable 5 is back out now after massive export controls and whatnot, following an 18-day global blackout triggered by an emergency U.S. government export ban. Anthropic officially restored Claude Fable 5 to the public July 1st, so yesterday. However, when the Commerce Department, the model was re-released with aggressive new safety classifiers that are heavily throttling its capabilities, sparking immediate backlash from developers. So this proves that getting a frontier model past Federal Review Board means sacrificing its raw utility. The era of unhindered cutting-edge AI deployments is over. Developers are now paying premium prices for a model that operates on a political leash. What do you think about this, John?
Yeah, I think this is absolutely ridiculous. We've talked about this before about this U.S. government being, well, in my opinion, it's dictatorship. They're also, I think we talked about them asking all the AI companies for just a percentage of their company just to give it to the government. So I've started looking elsewhere for AI LLMs to use, and I've come across this one called Sakana, so Fugu. So I'm going to look into that one and see how that one works. But I'm glad Fable 5 is back. I haven't messed around with it yet, although I do find Opus 4.8 is decent, but I'll have to see how throttled Fable 5 is. I didn't get a huge chance to mess around with Fable 5 too much, but yeah, we can get really political about this. This is, we can,
but let's. Yeah. I think we just want to take a step back on that and say, let's understand it a little bit. Anthropic, leading up to this point, claim that Mythos and Fable and all these things were like they're going to wipe the internet. We're going to find all the security holes ever. It's like dropping a nuclear bomb. It was the biggest hype wagon ever from any startup. Look how dangerous this thing is. And all of a sudden someone said, well, if it's that dangerous, maybe we need to pay attention. And all of a sudden everybody say dictatorship's like, okay, well, are you a nuclear bomb for the internet or are you not? Which is it, Mr. So anyway, they seem to be applying the same type of rules with ChatGPT because 5.6 had to go through a full week of review used by the government before they were allowed to release. So I think Anthropic was just the first. And we can say dictatorship all we want, but we're starting to see that Chinese models are catching up or superior that are being released as open source, that are being trained on the models that we're releasing over here. So the problem is, how do you control that leakage when you start to think that AI is a strategic advantage for a country?
I don't know. I don't think it's a strategigic advantage. I think it's just the government trying to control. But that's my opinion. I think I think there were two other models that have come out since the ban that equal the capabilities of Fable 5 and Mythos. So because of that, either the US is in their own little bubble and they're not paying attention to these other models that are coming out and don't realize it, which I doubt, highly doubt, or there's something else behind it, which again, I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist. The thing that really irks me is that it's just, I lost my train of thought, but so
let me ask you a question. What's the difference between what the U.S. is doing and what Canada's doing with sovereign AI?
What's Canada doing with sovereign AI?
where we're creating our own AI that we're going to be able to control. So our AI is not being controlled by any other companies or countries.
I didn't know we were doing sovereign AI. I knew we were doing sovereign data.
Oh, yeah. So McCartney announced that. I'm just saying, it's not. I don't see it as being political. I see it as being it's survival. You have to start controlling the AI inside your country, the big ones specifically. How long ago? It was a year and a half ago, we started talking about all the AI controlled drones, fighter jets, the air-to-air fighters, the ground to air, the air to ground, all the different stuff. And so at one point, it's a military decision.
Yeah. And we could cover this another time, but did you know that the U.S. used Grok to launch missiles at Iran? Over 2,000 missiles?
Well, I don't know if that's true. I'd like to see it, but I bet they used Starshield. So...
Yeah, they did. It's from the Independent. Well, we could talk about it next time. I'll put it in the thing, but But
that's the military contract Starshield has. So Starshield happens to be using Grok. Okay, great. But it's a military contract. I'm neither here nor there on it because we've seen what China's doing with AI. We've seen what other foreign countries are doing with AI. I think
these other countries are releasing these other AI models that are just as capable. So what's the point in porting?
The point is that Anthropic, every time a Chinese model comes out, complains that they, basically trained off all their models and they have to tighten their models because every time they release it, someone else is just training their models on their models and stealing the weights and doing that stuff. So the lockdown is supposed to stop the leakage. I don't know if it ever will because most of these companies have diversity as their strength, meaning their people are from all over the world. So how do you really vet whether someone's going to leak stuff or not?
There's no way. With the internet nowadays, even you can keep things as secure as you want. Like Fable 5 leaked, but even when it wasn't even released to other, like when it was just governments that were allowed to use it. So there's no way that they're going, well, maybe they'll find a way. But as of right now, there's no way that they can completely lock down any LLM model. So
I agree, but they're starting to work on it. They're starting to try that big move by Amazon. Basically, they wanted to be the secure digital provider because they claim they have the hardware and infrastructure controls that the U.S. government needs to control who has access to what. So they only want the public LLMs to run on their infrastructure. And that's why I think they blew the whistle on Anthropic overall is they're all gunning for these military contracts that are worth billions and billions.
For sure. Yeah.
So June 26th, the government permits a highly restricted rollout of Fable's sibling model, Mythos 5, to fewer than 100 enterprise entrepreneurs. June 30th, the Commerce Department officially lifts the broad export control. And on July 1st, Anthropic restores Fable 5 globally across Cloud AI, Cloud Code, AWS. The consensus is the model feels significantly less powerful due to overtuned guardrails. I think this is the story is that we're not going to see exponential growth in capacity as a result of the guardrails that are being put on by companies now. We're going to see growth in a different type of way, I think. So that's where I think the story is. They're starting to limit these bigger names and their biggest models as they start to compare. And anybody who's comparing at this high level will get this scrutiny. If they're not immediately scrutinized, they will be soon. And I won't be surprised if we start to hear about bans of Chinese models.
I wouldn't be surprised with that either, for sure. Yeah.
I use DeepSeek a lot. I use there's a few other, I don't know, Timmy.
This new Sakana Fugu?
I have not. And there's a couple other models I'm really interested in trying. But I've got client work and a lot of other stuff, so I can't, play around too much. Yeah. But we play around at like our Builder Cafe tomorrow where we're teaching people how to build AI agents from scratch. So that'll be a fun time. But anyway, let's get back to this. Yeah. Anthropic has hard-coded real-time safety classifiers targeting offensive cybersecurity methods, structural biology code, and latent extraction, which prevents the model from revealing its internal chain of thought. When these broad filters are tripped rather than failing gracefully, the system executes an automatic fallback scaffolding, silently handshaking with cloud environment to dump the context session to Claude Opus 4.5. So if it starts crossing a line into topics they don't want you talking about or they don't want you poking around about, they drop back to Opus 4.8.
Yeah, that's interesting. Also, I don't know if Anthropic's doing this, but OpenAI, I think it's Anthropic too. They're going to be asking for ID to be able to access these models. A government ID. Yeah. I think it's coming in July.
It's not surprising.
Yeah.
All right. So Fable 5 is finally free from government house arrest, but it returned to the wild wearing a massive digital ankle monitor that goes off the moment you ask it to do anything truly complex. Is that heavily filtered, guardrailed, clogged Fable 5 worth the premium enterprise token price? Because, it's $50 per million output tokens, or are you shifting your infrastructure to an unmonitored open source models? Let us know what your deployment strategies are in the chat below.
Tired of drowning in repetitive tasks while your competitors race ahead? Every minute you spend on manual data entry, scheduling, and routine processes is a minute you're not growing your business. Flowgrammer.ca transforms your workflow chaos into seamless automation. We build AI-powered systems that handle your busy work so you can focus on what actually makes you money. Our clients typically save 15 plus hours per week and see their productivity double within 60 days. Visit flowgrammer.ca for a free automation audit. That's flowgrammer.ca. Stop working in your business and start working on it.
What do you got going on, John?
Just plugging away, helping companies with government funding, attending events, probably startup drinks or Flowgrammer events. How about you, Craig?
Lots of stuff going on. I honestly don't know when this is going out. I have to check. I think it's going to go out in April. But there's all sorts of stuff going on. If you don't know about OpenClaw, it's the latest AI automation agent that's taken the world by storm in 2026. And OpenClaw Toronto chapter just launched. And we have all sorts of events going on. So check out openclawto.com. Our first demo night is April 14th. We have a Builder Cafe on April 10th. We have a bunch of other events. There's updates every day. We've deconstructed the latest 2 betas over the weekend that was launched in OpenClaw and what you should do about them. There's a bunch of articles over there. Go check that out. We're also over at flowgrammer.ca where we do N8N automations. We run the Flowgrammer community and do Builders Hub and connectivity for AI and business automation agents. And for everything else, head over to TorontoStarts where we hook up startups and investors at our Startup Investor Drinks. We do mentoring, we do workshops, we have a list of investors. There's a whole bunch of content over. You can also book me over there if you want a meeting with me to talk about whatever, help your startup. Check out TorontoStarts.com. But John, if people are looking for non-dilutive funding, where should they go and what is that?
Yeah, non-dilutive funding. We're talking government grants, tax credits. Come find me on LinkedIn if you have any questions. Right now is shred time, SRNED. But come reach out to me too if you've got a startup, if you've got a company. Reach out to me if you have any questions, and if they have company questions about their startup in general, where do they find you, Craig?
Yeah, find me at TorontoStarts.com. But John, just before we go, something's open right now, and it's closing May 31st. Thank you. Can Export. And what?
Yeah. So
what
if
should
you have
people
at
know
least
about that?
300,000 in revenue in the previous year, and you're looking to expand outside of Canada, reach out to me, and we can put together. We can talk about an application for Can Export.
All the links we talked about will be in the show notes wherever you're watching this. Thanks for watching, everybody. Leave us a comment, give us a like, give us a subscribe. We really appreciate it. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for tuning in to Silicon Scoop. We hope you enjoyed this episode's dive into the latest tech news. Stay connected with John Irwin and the Startup Coach on LinkedIn and subscribe for more insights and updates. Until next time, stay ahead, stay informed.